I'm going to try to do this while actually packing this monitor, because yes, it's very possible that some of you kind of learned a lot already about reselling. You've learned how to source for inventories. You've learned how to list items on the platform on which you sell. It could be on eBay, it could be on Amazon, it could be on whatnot, wherever you say. You've learned that, you've learned customer service, you know how to reply, to customers. You know how to reply promptly. You actually know how to make good photographs. But the problem is you are still not seeing good results on your shop. I sell on eBay, and sometimes I'm just going to use eBay like an example. You have been selling on eBay, even though you've learned how to source for items, you've learned all these things I just talked about, you still do not see results on your shop. In this video, I'm going to try to tell you one more skill that you might need to pick up to actually make you begin to see results. You see, before I'll do that, just going to get my bubble wrap so that I can actually do this in real time. All right. Okay, I've got my bubble wraps right here, and the thing I want to talk about is that some of you are kind of scared to actually ship out bulky items, and this might just be the reason why you are still stuck where you are right now on your reselling journey. Because truth be said, a lot of people don't want to put in the work. People just think that eBay, doing reselling as a whole, eBay in specific, is just a bed of roses, where you come onto, you just go to source some few items and you come and throw it onto the platform, and then it's going to say, yes, it does sell, but the problem is that a lot of people are actually thinking of doing the same thing, and because of that, there's a lot of competition. Nobody wants to actually put in the work of shipping out a bulky item, because it is actually very time consuming to ship out a bulky item. It is actually risky to also ship out a fragile item. Right here I have a monitor and I'm trying to ship it out. Where's my sellotape? Yes, this happens to me almost all the time. I keep looking for stuff and I do. Okay, it's right here. All right. So what was I saying? A lot of people don't want to ship out fragile items because yes, anything can actually go wrong while you are trying to ship out this item. It could be broken on transit. This monitor, this PC right here cost well over 400 euros. All right. So if it were to go broken during transportation, it would be a major loss. So I get it when people do not want to actually just be involved with something like this. But like I said, this might just be the reason why you are not seeing the result right now on your shop, because that thing that you are doing, a lot of people are doing it as well. The competition is too much. When I started selling on eBay, I didn't know for once that there's going to be a day where I would be actually shipping out, bulky and fragile items. I also started out with shipping out just basic stuff, things that whenever they sell, I can just put them in the shipping bubble wraps, then throw them into the packaging, and I call it a day. But then I realized that the number of people doing that same thing just got bigger and bigger and bigger, and I had to look for a way to quickly distinguish myself, to make myself kind of unique, and one way I thought of was that, look, I'm going to begin to sell what a lot of people do not sell, simply because the items are just either too heavy or the items are too fragile, and because of that, nobody wants to sell that item. And naturally, because of that, I do not have a lot of competition. This kind of, it's not like this competition is totally eliminated, because there are still a few people that do think like me, that they want to take the risk, they want to actually do whatever it takes. I'm going to get mobile wraps on this stuff. Yes, like I was saying, there are some people that actually are ready to take the risk, but the competition in this kind of game is considerably reduced. Not everybody has the time, not everybody has the power, not everybody has the patience. Not everybody is so risk averse to ship out glass. This is pure glass, because the monitor itself, if anything was to just hit it, that is the end of the game. But because of this singular approach I took to my business exploded my business to the next level. I started learning how to do this. In the beginning, it was difficult. I lost a lot of computers because I didn't actually know how to pack them properly. I didn't know how to ship them in such a way that the risk of the monitor getting broken in transit would be considerably reduced. I didn't know how to do that, and it was all a trial and error thing. There was no course online teaching you how to ship stuff. There was no course teaching you teaching you step by step how to actually minimize losses when you are shipping out items like this. If there was a course like that, I would have bought it, I would have just bought it, because anyway, then I didn't also know what I didn't know now. If there was a course like that, like I said, I would have just bought it and I would have minimized a lot of losses that I had to incur while learning to do this. But because I learned to do this, naturally, I just cut off a lot of competition. Now I sell in a category where items are pretty much bulky, items are fragile. But because we are just a few sellers doing this is the reason why the competition is so reduced. And because of that, I kind of get sales almost every day on eBay. Right now, I have already used 2 bubble wraps, but because this is pure glass, it's still not enough. I still have to look for something to protect this face. In this game, you do not consider how much you spend on packaging materials. If you are very stingy, you are the kind of person that want to think, how do I have to spend so much just doing this? You want to take your hands off stuff like this. When you come to this category, you have to forget one thing. You have to forget being cheap, and you have to forget using cheap packaging materials if you want to succeed in this category, all right? So I'm going to get more stuff to make sure I protect this face as much as I possibly can. So I've got here more tough materials. This is not the end. I'm still going to do some level of packaging even after doing this, but this is another added protection to this device. Like I said, this thing costs well over 400 euros, and I do not want to take any chances, because if it's broken during transit, first of all, the buyer is not going to accept it for me, and I'm going to lose quite a lot of money. So it makes a lot of sense to spend some time, some quality time, actually making sure that this computer is a complete computer, is well packed, than trying to do a shabby job. And at the end of the day, it will most likely amount to an exercise in futility. So when you have done this, like, be really, really generous with bubble wraps, like I'm doing right now. Really, really generous with bubble wraps, like I've done right here. You are kind of sure that, look, to a large extent, you have really protected this monitor. If I still want to give this an additional layer of protection, I'll go ahead and put a carton right in front of it, which I am definitely going to do. So I've got right here some flat carton. I'm going to flip the monitor just like that and also include it. You see, this is the work that a lot of people are scared to do. And this might just be the skill that might be missing, like the missing puzzle in your reselling business. The biggest encouragement I have for you today is, now that you still have the time, because if you are grinding every day, you are possibly right now in the phase of learning new skills, all right? Since you are in the phase of learning new skills, it just makes a lot of sense if you can actually just go ahead and pick up these skills, and you know that, yes, you have learned it. And if you want to begin to dabble into shipping heavy items, bulky items, it won't be a big surprise for you. You won't have to spend, lose a lot of money. You won't have to be scared anymore. The journey of 1,000 miles always begins with a step. So you want to learn this skill, because if the competition are getting stronger in the category in which you sell, perhaps you sell clothing, perhaps you sell cooking utensils, perhaps you sell those light stuff that the competition is just, believe me, just breakneck right now. It's just breakneck competition right now going on in these categories. You want to begin to switch to bulky items. Items that, look, when you have to ship them, first of all, you have to spend some good amount of time to pack them up. You also have to have some good amount of patience to ensure that, look, the items are not destroyed when you are trying to pack them. And then you also have to spend some good amount of energy in actually lifting up these items. If you see this computer right now, it's not so light, a little bit bulky, but believe me, if you can begin to do this, begin to list this on your shop, because the competition is just a little bit reduced or relaxed in these categories, definitely you stand a better chance to sell. And the beautiful part of it is that items like this, you can pretty much charge whatever you want to charge on shipping, Because just a few people are selling these kind of items, you can actually set your own price. You are not racing to the bottom. Exactly what happens in a lot of categories where they sell very light items like this kind of knife, items like this kind of flower vase that are so light. This is a lot of people just race to the bottom in an attempt to sell this. But if you go ahead, learn how to sell washing machines, learn how to sell bulky computers, learn how to sell bulky items in general, furnitures and all that stuff, you stand a better chance to actually set your price, because if people like the item, they won't be thinking of the extra $5 or 10 euros they have to pay just to get the item for wherever it's being sold to where they are. And this could be a major game changer for your business. This is not the end of the game. I still have to put this in a very good and befitting carton so that this item can actually be sent off to the buyer. And to do that, I've got very high quality cartons right here. I'm just going to do it on the floor and take it onto the table whenever everything is ready. But one thing I just want to point out is if you have to send out bulky items like this, please, like I said before, ensure that you are not cheap. Ensure that you are using the best quality items. Take a look at this. I don't know if the camera can see it. This is double wall carton. It's as strong as wood, you know, so that it's going to reduce any damage that can come to this monitor in the event that this packet has to fall down while it's being transported. And it's going to minimize as far as possible any damage that can happen to this monitor. If you want to be cheap, you're going to go ahead and buy a $1 carton or a $2 carton if you really want to be cheap. But sometimes cartons like this alone can cost up to $8, up to 7 euros, up to 5 euros. It doesn't matter, but I have told myself it makes no logical sense to be penny wise and pound foolish. And this is exactly why I have invested in the best carton that is possible to enable me ship out this beautiful computer right here. So I'm going to prepare this carton right on the floor, like I said, and then before I come back to the table to finish whatever I'm going to do. And what I basically mean by preparation is just want to close the base of the carton and then go ahead and put the computer right into it. Nothing really special. All right. So I'm going to grab the PC right now like it is. Normally I should do it on the table, but it's so high I won't be able to come into it from the top. So I'm going to grab the PC and just drop it into the carton easy. Okay. When I have done that, and then I'm going to raise it up. Hopefully now you can actually see what I'm just hoping that the camera is able to pick that because it's pretty taller than me, so I really cannot see what's happening inside. But one thing I can do is to bend the carton this way so that either way you can actually see what's going on. So what I want to do now is to go ahead and fill all the spaces that's left with whatever I can find. This is just, I need to fill it as much as possible as to prevent any form of movement within this carton. In this way, I'm sure that exactly the way the monitor is sent, this is exactly the way it will arrive at the buyer's address. So filling these empty spaces might be a little bit tricky because you might not have enough materials to fill it. But luckily for me, on this occasion, I do have this kind of big bubble wraps. So I'm just going to push them first in as much as I can possibly can. You know, the idea is just to make sure that every corner is actually filled to the point that if anything were to go wrong with this packaging, it's going to be a long road before something actually hits the monitor or the computer inside. Okay, so that's still not enough because this package is very big. So even though it's already looking very stable, I still do feel like I want to fill these spaces. You know, what I normally do is that I do have packaging papers that are very big. I can just go ahead and roll them in. But on this occasion, I feel like this is a very good place to start. Like really make sure that this thing is stuffed in. And I've got more of them, which I'm just going to keep pushing in until everything actually gets filled up. That I am able to, in this way, minimize any form of damage that can happen to this monitor. All right, just all about not being cheap. That's the secret. If you just learn not to be cheap, you can actually already win the game of packing heavy items like this. And while doing this, you do not have to forget that, look, the accessories that actually comes with the device or whatever you are trying to ship, do not forget to include it, because when you do forget to include it, this might just be the beginning of many problems that you might have. All right, still have to look for more stuff to throw into it just to make sure that this thing is as soft as it can possibly be. Hopefully this should be okay the way it looks. All right, okay, at this point I still want to make sure that the top of this package is well protected, so I still have to look for a packaging like a white carton to place here so that in the event of somebody sitting on the top of this carton, it doesn't already break the monitor that's inside. And to complete the whole process, I'm just going to include my invoice so that the first thing that the buyer gets when they receive the package is just the invoice lying down there. And at this point, I can then go ahead to close close the box. Like I said, it's a lot of work. It takes a lot of time, but the more you continue to do it, easier it's just going to become. When I started doing this, I had absolutely no idea where to start, absolutely no idea, where to end. But with a lot of patience, with a lot of practice, and these practice sessions didn't actually come easy, but ultimately I figured it out that right now it feels so easy. It doesn't feel like work anymore. It feels so easy for me to do this because I took time off to actually practice bulky items. I just suddenly changed the game for my reselling business. All right, so the advice I have for you right now is this: if you are selling a category and nothing seems to be moving, you might want to consider selling a category where naturally there is just less competition. And selling a category that have bulky items, or selling a category that entails you ship out bulky items, naturally have less people in that category. And if you figure out how to do it, in a way that is cost effective, in a way that doesn't break your back, in a way that doesn't break your operation, or in a way that doesn't see you spending more time like you should in your warehouse, I want to beg you to go ahead and learn it. 2025 is around the corner, and one thing you can actually do for yourself to help your business is to go ahead and learn how to ship out bulky items. You will definitely come back later to thank me. I hope this video finds you well. If it did, go ahead and click on the like button. Ensure that you are subscribed to the channel so that you will be informed next time I post a very helpful content like this. Until I see you again in the next one, peace.